Hello, dear viewers and listeners. I'm Monica Kuzminskaite, health and nutrition psychologist, and this is my podcast, Spoonful of Reason. Today we talk about happiness, actually about the chemistry behind it. We'll talk about serotonin and mostly about tryptophan. We can talk about serotonin almost non-stop, while we mention tryptophan less often, but it tends to pop up in the same sentence as chocolate or turkey. Let's take a look at what it is, why it's worth knowing about, and how it relates to mental health. Tryptophan, an essential aromatic amino acid, is a substance that the human body cannot synthesize, meaning we must obtain it through food. Interest in tryptophan first arose after it was discovered that a serotonin deficiency in the brain is a significant factor in the development of depression. Serotonin does not cross the blood-brain barrier, so serotonin in the brain can only be produced locally from the necessary building blocks. And tryptophan is precisely the building block from which serotonin is synthesized. There are three main pathways for tryptophan utilization. First is serotonin-melatonin pathway, where tryptophan hydroxylase helps convert tryptophan into 5-HTP, from which serotonin is subsequently synthesized, and ultimately melatonin is produced from serotonin in the dark. All of that happens in your head, in the brain. Second is kynurenine pathway, which happens in the liver, and it processes the tryptophan that we get from food. Tryptophan 2,3-dioxygenase and indolamine 2,3-dioxygenase break down tryptophan, synthesizing nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, and simultaneously produce the neurotransmitter kynurenic acid and the neurotoxic substance quinolinic acid. And this is how most of the tryptophan obtained from food is broken down, about 85% of the total amount. And the third one is intestinal microbial pathway, where intestinal bacteria break down tryptophan into indoles, specifically scuttle and indole 3-propionic acid. Serotonin is a product of tryptophan metabolism, and it is a particularly important substance that stabilizes emotional processing, behavioral inhibition, and executive function. Serotonin is not merely the happiness molecule, rather it is the conductor of an orchestra, substance that influences several critical areas of the brain simultaneously. Serotonin inhibits overactive amygdala activity, thereby calming anxiety and fear. Second, it maintains synaptic plasticity in the hippocampus, thereby supporting memory and learning processes. And also, it regulates sleep, appetite, and impulse control by acting on the brainstem and cortex. Therefore, disturbances in serotonin metabolism can significantly and broadly affect psychological well-being and health. Recent scientific research no longer focuses on the idea that low serotonin levels cause sadness. Instead, it is now examining the complex connection between the gut, the brain, and the immune system. It has been found that during times of stress and systemic inflammation, tryptophan is stolen from the brain. Instead of being converted into serotonin in the brain, tryptophan is redirected via kynurenine pathway. Serotonin reserves in the brain are depleted, excessively toxic quinolinic acid begins to accumulate, microglial inflammation develops, and synaptic plasticity decreases. Ultimately, structural brain atrophy develops, characteristic of major depression. In the gut, when a healthy gut bacterial flora is present, anti-inflammatory substances are produced that protect against increased intestinal permeability, known as leaky gut. If a harmful bacterial species dominate the gut, systemic inflammation develops and the redirection of tryptophan described above intensifies. Certain psychobiotics, specifically lactobacillus and bifidobacterium species, suppress this inflammation and redirect tryptophan back to the brain. Researchers also unequivocally recommend consuming tryptophan through healthy foods rather than supplements. The Mediterranean diet, of course, combines tryptophan-rich foods with omega-3 rich foods, and such a diet naturally promotes serotonin production. Foods highest in tryptophan include poultry, beef, pork, also tofu, salmon, soybeans, milk, pumpkin seeds, oats, and eggs. It is important to consume these foods together with foods containing complex carbohydrates such as oats, sweet potatoes, or brown rice. Here are a few practical points for you to consider if you're willing to invest more time into the topic. If you eat tryptophan-rich foods without carbohydrates, tryptophan will likely lose the competition with other proteins trying to enter the brain. Insulin will help the major amino acids go to the muscles, and the path to the brain will be cleared for tryptophan. Trying to reduce systemic inflammation is also a great idea. It diverts tryptophan away from the brain. Cutting back on highly processed foods and consuming more polyphenols and omega-3 fatty acids is the way to improve your diet. Promote gut microbiome diversity. Consume fermented foods and pair them with sources of prebiotic fiber, such as leeks, onions, garlic, or asparagus. Live in tune with light and dark cycle. In the morning, shortly after waking up, spend 10 to 15 minutes outside in the light. This will stimulate serotonin production at the start of the day. In the evening, avoid bright light sources. This will promote melatonin production and improve your sleep. I hope that this organic chemistry laden information was useful to you. I'm Monica Kuzminskaite, health and nutrition psychologist. I help to deal with simple and complicated issues uh, around your behavior, thinking, and emotions. I write, I give lectures, and I provide psychological counseling. You will find the link to register for a counseling session in the comment of each post, and you will find my posts on social media, searching either for my name or keyword spoonful of reason, whichever is easier for you to remember and type. If you have any comments or questions, please drop me a message. Otherwise, wishing all you peace.